Hi everyone. In 2020, a lot of people decided to take up teaching and build a career for them, or at least establish something on which they can build bigger things in the future. Music, cooking, gaming, languages, they did exist in the past, but when COVID started, the numbers tripled. What we're going to cover now is the field of teaching languages and English language. We might have some other languages in the future, but for now we are focusing only in English. The first question is the English teachers. What kind of English teachers do we have? Which one is better than the other? How do we measure their success? We will have other topics in the future, but for now we're focusing only on the very basics. Before we kick off, please keep in mind that this video and the next videos will be designed or focusing on teaching young adults and adults. So in some cases, they might also be some kind of useful when teaching teenagers. So if you're teaching children or young learners, I'm sorry to tell you, these videos aren't for you. We might have something for young learners in the future and you will be notified about them, but for now we are not discussing this stage. The first question that comes to mind when deciding to take up teaching is, why do you want to teach? For many people, teaching is just a profession to make living, and it's fine and it's correct. For others, there might be other reasons, and money could be the last reason. We're going to divide these people into two groups. Group 1, people who are natural teachers. Group 2, people who are not natural teachers but want to teach. For each group, we have two subgroups, trained and not trained. We're going to take a look at their cons and pros, their advantages and disadvantages. Let's begin with natural teachers. The subgroups are trained and not trained. Not trained teachers have the ability to deliver the message to the learners better than others without receiving any kind of professional training. They use their own techniques and the learners get what they expect to get. Their knowledge is based mostly on their experience. Advantages of this group: their experience is based on real practice, which comes from outside books, outside of face-to-face and online seminars. In other words, they have practical experience. Disadvantages: their teaching methods might have no clear structure. They might be teaching one thing and then suddenly move to another thing. So the learners might feel lost, and they would feel lost because the teacher himself is actually lost. Plus, they might be totally dependent on written exercises, which are not enough when checking the progress of the learners. They might, and they will, ignore or miss the other aspects and methods of checking the learner's progress. Trained teachers. Trained teachers have the same characteristic of non-trained ones when it comes to the base, but their experience is mostly academic and rich, which gives them an advantage over the other group. Advantages: in addition to practical experience, those teachers follow clear steps of the lessons. Before the lesson, they set their goals, and during the lesson they follow their goals step by step and move smoothly from one point into another. So the learners here feel comfortable and feel that they are moving from one way to another, but in the right direction, in one direction. They won't get lost. They will not lose direction at all. Also, they use real practice that measure and check the learner's progress and whether the learner has received what he is supposed to receive. We'll also talk about these steps later. Disadvantages: As a trained teacher, you learn how to make plans, how to follow the plan, how to move from one point to another, how to measure your students' progress. But what may work with one student or group of students may not work with other students or other learners, especially if you're dealing with adults. Most of them will not understand why we are doing this exercise and why we are doing this exercise in this certain way, which may lead to some kind of irritation. Once the learner has this feeling, it will be almost impossible to make the learning process any useful. There is always be a wall between the teacher and the student. Group 2. People who are not natural teachers but want to teach. The same with the previous group. We have trained and not trained. Now, non-trained teachers' advantages are that they are flexible, they are natural, spontaneous. They give the learner what the learner wants, not what the learner needs. For them, teaching is only a source of money, not the main source of money, but source of money. So the customer is always right. And I may somehow agree with them in some special cases. Now, most, but not all, of people in this group are people whom their partners work, could be single mothers, could be old people or young students who want some pocket money. So they don't actually care much about where to get money from. They don't have to worry about that. They just want some kind of activity to get themselves busy. Or as I said before, to get some pocket money if we are talking about young students. The disadvantages of this group is that learners may not get the idea of the topic and may not practice what they have learned. So they will study something, but there will be no practice. It will be only like giving a lecture. Now, those who are not natural teachers but received some kind of professional training, now they're unlike the other group. Teaching is the main and most of the cases the only source of income. So they take it more seriously. The advantages are that this group may use a mix of everything, old school and new school, paper and digital. They will use methods that naturally born teachers may not use. Therefore, the students will not see the traditional image of teacher and student. This traditional image they are used to see anytime, whenever you say the word teacher, which is something important to make the learning process more interesting. Disadvantages are, first, as people who do this, and I mean teaching, as people who teach, teaching for them is just a way to get money, which I mentioned before in the beginning of the video. They'll be doing their jobs maybe professionally, but without emotion, without passion. Anything new they learn, any experience they gain is motivated by only one thing: extra income. 2. People in this group may sometimes lose control over their students because they get so close to their students, and somehow students, especially if we're talking about young adults or teenagers who are about to get to become adults, they will somehow misbehave, and the relationship will be no longer a teacher and student relationship. We'll also discuss these points in the future and how to show who the boss is in the classroom, but at the same time without being bossy. Third, after a period of time, which could last for several years, they will reach the level of burnout much faster than other people, and so they will lose interest and start doing their job more recklessly, which will result in students not getting the information they have to get or they expect to get. The most dangerous point of all is that this group is much more vulnerable to the changes in their surrounding. They are ready when facing any changes to give away everything they have learned, everything they have been doing for over a decade, everything they have spent almost all of their savings to get. They might simply just throw it away behind their bags and start a new career from the scratches. So this is only an introduction of what we're going to discuss in the future. Just remember, everything I said is based on my personal experience. Now, I might be correct in some points, I might not be correct in other points. Your opinion is important for me. You can always share your ideas, share your experience with me. Thank you for watching. See you later. Once the learner has this feeling, it will be almost impossible to make the learning